In this video, we're gonna be building a castle, kind of like this one right here. It's a little bit complicated. It looks kind of complex. It's made out of a lot of basic shapes and we're using a lot of basic tools, but to get through it, I've got to go a little bit faster in this one. Trust me. Some of you have been waiting for this. I've already tried recording it. It took way too long. So I'm gonna go quicker. It's gonna be sort of step by step, but I may skip over some of the more basic things. So if you're having trouble following along, pause the video, go back and watch a part again, or potentially watch other videos on the channel that are easier, simpler, and work your way up to this one. If you guys create your own castle, make sure you tag me at Pixel and Bracket on all social media. I want to see what you guys create, and I want to see the colors that you change it to at the end, because I got a secret special trick at the very end. All right, guys, let's get started. Let's open up Illustrator. I'm Spencer from Pixel and Bracket. Here we go. Lo and behold, this is our castle right here. So I'm going to keep this on the screen because I don't really feel like memorizing every little piece that I made. And we're going to start the castle right over here. Let's build out the basic shape of everything first. So I'm going to use that rectangle tool. It's over here. Pretty easy. Shortcut key is M. And I'm going to use the basic swatches. So I'm going to open up my swatch panel up here. Window drop down to swatches. That'll open up wherever it is for whoever you are, whatever system you're on, however updated you are. Okay, and I'm going to pick like 3 different grays I'm going to use. The lightest is going to be the front and the darkest will be the back. So we'll start here for maybe this main piece right there. And I do have these smart guides set up, but you don't necessarily need them. Just kind of make your own size rectangle for the front. Eventually the smart guides will help you line things up. You can go to view down to smart guides to turn those on. And those are gonna be all the pink lines you see lining everything up just like that. Okay, so we got the base wall built. Let's go ahead and build like a secondary tower, maybe about this height right here, kind of arbitrary width like that. And then the one thing I want to make sure of here is that these two are aligned right to the bottom together. So I'm going to select them both, open up my alignment panel just like that, and we're going to use this guy here. That's vertical align bottom. That just makes sure that that bottom is exactly in place. We don't want any spaces here. You can zoom in and out with Command or Control plus or minus just to make sure there's no gaps in between these two shapes. And once you've done that, I'm going to leave this guy here because we'll just duplicate him over later. So let's build out this, maybe this side pier and this middle one. So I'm just going to duplicate this by holding Option or Alt on a PC. And I'm going to drag it over to the middle. Should be able to intersect. It's not working, so we're just going to drop it in there. I'm going to hold Shift and select both of these two pieces, and then click on my main wall again. Go back to that alignment panel and horizontal align center. That's going to center up this piece in the back. We're going to make him bigger just by grabbing those double arrows on the top and dragging him upwards. And then I'm going to grab the double arrows on the side while simultaneously holding Alt or Option to kind of drag that out like this. Maybe something right in here looks good. And now you see this next pillar kind of goes over the side of this little, I don't know, tall point here, whatever you call that little block. So I'm going to duplicate this guy over, holding Alt or Option again and Shift to keep it in line. Remember, we want all this to line up on the bottom. Let's make him just a little bit shorter, something like this in here, and then I'm going to pull him back a little bit until he's somewhere overlapping this guy here. Now it's hard to see everything, so we need some color separators. So let's make this a little bit darker. We're gonna go back up to that fill, that little swatch. We'll actually make this one the darkest, so maybe over there, just a couple spaces away. And then same thing with this guy, maybe right in here. So we got light, medium, dark, just like that. Now these two guys, they're in front of our wall in the back. Don't want that, so I'm gonna grab them both, right click, arrange, send to back. Now we've got them all in the back, let's go ahead and make our little blocks that go on the top of these towers. So I'm just gonna, I like duplicating rectangles if I already have them made. So I'm just gonna duplicate this rectangle like that, holding Alt or Option. And then I'm gonna make it into like a smaller little block, just like this, like that. And then we need it to line up right there and line up right there. So basically the smart guides are going to help you, but in order to make sure these two are lined up perfectly, I'm going to make sure I select them both, click on my big wall, and then of course align to the left just like that. Now it's not a big deal if it overlaps a little bit. In fact, that'll guarantee that you don't have any gaps. So you might consider doing that if you want to. The next thing we're gonna do is just duplicate this over. I'm hold Alt or Option and Shift and kind of give myself whatever spacing I sort of want, just like that. Now what we're gonna do is duplicate again. Going up to Object down to Transform, actually it's called Transform again. That's Command or Control D as a shortcut key. And when I click that, it just does the last transformation again, which was a duplication that we had done. So I can hit Command or Control D and just duplicate that all the way across. I just keep pressing D. And I think I'll probably stop it with that piece. And what I'll do now is bring this piece over until it intersects with the side there. I'm gonna make sure that it's completely on the right side there. Remember, just select them both and use that alignment tool. And then I'm going to select all of these pieces right here, just like that. Open up that alignment panel again, Window, Align if you don't already have it. I need to show more options, so you might need to click this hamburger menu, but once you do, should see Distribute Objects. You may already see it anyway. Gotta make sure it's aligned to selection. I'm gonna distribute horizontally. And that's gonna distribute all these guys evenly between the first and the last shape. Perfect, I like it. All right, let's grab one and bring him up here. Same thing, gonna intersect, and I want him to kind of bump down a little bit. Shift click, and then click again. We're aligning to that key object and align to the left. Same thing here, I'm gonna duplicate him over, grab him, click, align to the right. And then we need one in the middle. I can just kind of drag him over. That little smart guide helped me intersect it, but if you don't, you can do the same strategy here. Again, select them all, go to your alignment options. You might need to show the advanced ones. Align, make sure it's to selection, that selection, and horizontal distribute, just like that. So now that we have this guy set up, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this entire piece, the blocks on top and the tower. I'm gonna hold Option or Alt and bring it over here to this side, just like that. It intersected perfectly. So now we got that guy. Up here at the top, I'm gonna grab these blocks, duplicate them on their own, and bring them up here on this tower. And I'm just gonna let them go. There's a little gap here, right? That's the thing we need to fix. So click on it, right click on this guy, then select him again. So we got both these selected, key object, left align. All right, I might make these a little bit smaller. Let's pretend like they're in the distance a little bit. The other thing we need to do is make sure they overlap some. So maybe 2 arrow keys down on that. And we're gonna just select them all and bring them in this way. I want 4 up here with a little gap. So I'm gonna bring this guy over, duplicating, Alt or Option, make sure they're lined up. Remember, just selecting both. We've done this a million times. Align him to the right. I just want to make sure those line up perfectly. All right, those might be a little bit tall, so I'm going to drag them down a little bit more, or just click them down by selecting them using the arrow keys. And then last but not least, just grab them again. Use the eyedropper key, that's I, as a shortcut, and just select that color. And now you've got that tower in the background. Easy peasy. All right, grabbing this and we're duplicating this whole piece over to the other side. Just actually, before we do that, I'm gonna undo that, Command or Control Z. I actually want it to come over to about the center of this block. So I'm gonna grab this whole piece again, and I'm gonna just pull everything over and scale it to the center of that. Those smart guides help me line that up. Now that I have that, I'm gonna duplicate it over just like this. All right, and of course it's on top, so make sure you grab that again, right click, arrange, send to back. So we're getting the basic shape down. We're just about there. It looks like I totally screwed that up. Wow, we got ahead of ourselves. So you don't need these pieces, just go, unless you want them. You actually totally could. Let's build it with them and see how it looks. See, we did it up here, so let's go ahead and maybe grab these big blocks again, because even though this is in the distance, we're gonna pretend like it's like the biggest block and actually reverse these colors. So what we can do is select this, use the eyedropper key. Sorry guys, I'm confusing you now, I know, but these towers are gonna be the darkest. This one is gonna be that middle color, and I lost it, so we'll go grab it just like that. All right, and then these blocks up here are gonna be the same color. There you go. All right, we're back on track. We got some extra pieces here. We're gonna see how it looks in the end. We may just get rid of them at the end, but that'll be okay. Same thing as always. Click both of these, align to that key object, and push that to the left. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just push him to the right, line him up, and then we're gonna duplicate this. So I duplicated it once, and then I can do Command or Control D to duplicate it a couple more times, maybe once more. And then we're gonna grab all these guys, open up my more options, align to selection, good, and just distribute those so they're perfectly lined up on top there. Okay, so next up, let's do, what do you want to do? Let's do the rooftops there, the little pointy rooftops. So I'm going to grab the polygon tool, click on my canvas, make sure it's 3 sides. The radius we'll figure out later. Hit OK. So there we go. We got a triangle. I'm going to use a color, and let's find out what this color is. Let's just grab it. Actually, no, this is going to be different. So just an orangey-ish color. I like to double click this color swatch. Sorry, no, my mouse was all over the place, but I like to double click that color swatch. And then we're going to pick something a little bit saturated in there, maybe something like that. There you go. And this guy's just going to sit right on top here. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure he's aligned to the center of my tower. So I'm going to grab them both. You know the drill. Horizontal line center, there we go. It's perfect. All right. He's also going to be sent to the back. So we're going to right click him, arrange, send to back, just like that. And then he needs to be a little bit bigger, in my opinion. So we're just going to click on him and maybe hold Shift and Option to make him bigger. I don't want him to go outside of my tower, but I can just sort of lift him up a little bit like that. So that's okay. He's a little pointy, so I'm going to actually bring this top point down and make that a little bit flatter of a little rooftop pier here. I'm not really sure how I'm liking this, so here's what we're going to do. We're already going to get rid of these, okay? Got rid of them. I'm actually going to make him the width of our tower, just like that. Those smart guides help me out there. And then we're going to place him on the very tippy top here. Just kind of zoom in, make sure he locks in there, just like that. So there we go. He's right on top. Now we can just duplicate this guy over to here. Make sure it's aligned in the center of this one. Same thing, select both, click one, key object, align center, and then get rid of these again. I know I made you do them before, but hey, it was a good test, right? Okay, next, let's put this guy on top. I do know it looks okay up here, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna bring him up. We're gonna align him to the center of this piece. You know how to do that now. And I'm just going to make him larger by holding Shift, just like that. And I liked where I got this one to hit. Looks like it hits just above this corner. So that's what we'll try to do. And I'm going to show you a little trick here. So we're going to make him actually bigger than everything. He goes just above the corner there. All right. Well, I got these two little side pieces there. Well, how about I just select everything that I see right here. Selecting, just deselected. Select everything I see right there. Go to that shape builder tool that we haven't even used yet. Shift plus M. And then on these little edges, I'm going to zoom in here so I can see. Right here, I just need to make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to hold Option or Alt. The little minus pops up, and I just click on that, and it goes away. Okay? Same thing with this side. Click, and it goes away. So now we've cheated a little bit, but I like the way that looks better. Okay, so where are we at? Maybe we need a door on this guy. Okay, we're gonna make the door. Here we go. Next up is the door. All right, so we're gonna do, we're gonna do a rectangle tool, and let's just sort of put it right here to start with, and let's make it a darker brown color, somewhere down in here. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of eyeball the size of the door right here, maybe like that. Next thing we want to do is switch back to the selection tool. Shortcut key is V. I'm going to drag this down here. We're going to build the door down here. We don't need to build him on top of everything. Zooming in so we can see. I actually need to select the top 2 points. The direct selection tool, this white arrow, shortcut key is A. I'm going to click and select the top 2 points. Once I do that, I got these little corner widget things. I'm going to pull them in. This is in CC 2015, maybe 2017 and later. So update if you can't do that. I highly recommend it. Otherwise, I have other corner widget videos for CS6 or anybody that doesn't have it. Okay, but corner widget's awesome. Look, I just pulled those in. Now we have a door shape just like that. Let's go ahead and add maybe the stroke around it. So I'm going to duplicate this out. You should know how to do that. And we're going to flip this. We're going to flip the stroke and the fill just like that. And by clicking the little swappy arrow over here, also Shift X. And then I want to maybe up the stroke a little bit. Not sure how much. We're just going to up it to 5. 5 looks pretty good for the size that we made this. We might actually do 10. I think we're going to do 10. I'll show you why here in a second. Next, I want to make this an even darker brown, so I'm going to double click that swatch, or that little stroke swatch, drag this down to be a darker brown, hit OK. There we go. And then I believe, we may get this wrong, but I believe I'm going to use the scissors tool. That's a C as a shortcut key. And I'm going to click on this anchor and click on this anchor. Now I believe, once again, that I have 2 separate pieces. I can grab this one at the bottom and hit delete, and it's gone. So now I have this little like arch around the door. It's like that door frame, and I can bring it back over the top of this door, and then I can click on the main part of the door, right click, arrange, and just bring that to the front. And once I bring that to the front, now that reduces that stroke to more of a 5-point stroke. So I like the 5-point stroke. Now half of it's hidden up, half of the 10, so that leaves 5. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. All right, next thing, we're gonna add a little shadow. Let's do all of our shadows. Let's just look at the castle before I get carried away. Let's do all of our shadows on the right. So we're gonna add a rectangle out here, not like that. I'm gonna make this rectangle just pure black, and then I'm gonna make it bigger than the door, and I need it to intersect in the middle of the door. Now I'm running into a little problem up here. So here's what I do to fix that. I simply zoom in. Luckily, smart guides pretty much just look at what you can see. So now if I do this, it locks in right there on the middle of the door. So we just covered it up. Let's grab everything. Shape Builder tool is a perfect tool for this. Over here, Shift M. You know the drill. Option click on the outside of this guy, and there we go. We got a little shadow here. The door frame doesn't need a shadow, it's already dark. This is too dark, so we're gonna make it lighter by dropping the opacity to, I don't know if 10% works. We'll try 10%. All right, and let's make little doorknobs now. These are gonna be the lightest part of the door. We're gonna use that ellipse tool. Shortcut key is L. Make a little circle, just like that. I did it from the center out by holding Shift and Alt or Option. And let's say we want our little doorknobs to be like this big. Now, I'm gonna grab the color of this door, I key, eyedropper key, grab the color, and then I'm gonna double click this and just make it a little bit lighter, like that. Pretty easy. And we can probably bring it on top of our door. It's sometimes hard to grab that, so I just have to zoom in so I can get a better grab on that piece, just like that. What I'm gonna do is kind of just pick a height, line it up to the center, and I'm gonna use Shift and the left arrow key to bring it over a little bit. Gonna do the same thing after duplicating it over, lining up right there, Shift, right arrow key, bring it over a little bit. I have a feeling that's too far, so let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just put these where you want them, pretty much. There's 2 doorknobs. There's our door. Let's group it together. So select it all, right click, group, and then we want it to line up to the bottom, remember? So first things first, I'm gonna grab both the main wall and the door, click on the main wall, and then we're gonna align it to the bottom and align it to the center, just like that. So we should be good. That door's in there, perfect. All right, what's next? All right, I'm seeing something here, you guys. First off, I think there's 4 different colors here instead of 3. The outside 2 towers are a different color. So what we can do is just grab that, like that, and let's go ahead and let's work our way back here. So this tower I want to be, let's see what we did before. This tower was the second darkest. This was the second lightest. I was totally off as we did this tutorial, but that's okay. All right, so second darkest, let's make it this right there. And then we'll grab this one, and I for the eyedropper key, make it that right there. And now these 2 guys, these guys are gonna need to be a little bit darker even. So we go to those swatches and maybe grab this swatch here. There we go, just like that. All right, let's add some flags. Let's add some flags on the top. So what I did to do these flags, I went ahead and probably did a line segment tool and just found the center here. You can start at the very top at that anchor point. Made a little line segment just like that. Now this line segment needs a stroke size on it. So I think 2 points might work. So we're just gonna put in 2 there. Yeah, that'll do, that'll do. Next thing I wanna do is, you know, this is like a dark brown, and I think that's fine. You can make it just any dark color you want, but that stroke, I want to round the caps on that, which basically, whoops. Basically that turns the ends of them from a square to like a nice round look. That just adds a little finishing touch. Now the problem is that we are kind of on top of this guy. So I'm going to select both here, and then actually the first thing I'm going to do is grab this guy and send him to the back, right? He needs to be behind this to look like he's kind of popping out on top of it. So arrange, send to back. Next, I'm gonna grab both, select the triangle and center it up just like that. And then we just need to drop him down, maybe with the arrow keys, until he, you know, you can't see the end of him anymore. So just like that right there. He's just gonna come out of the top of this tower. And we need, of course, a little flag. So let's just duplicate this triangle. Easy peasy. I'm going to rotate him, holding shift to rotate by 90 degrees. And this isn't quite a flag shape, so we're going to bring in the 2 edges just like that. And hold Option or Alt to bring in both at the same time. And that's about a flag shape right there. What color did I choose? Maybe the same color as the roof. That's fine. Let's go ahead and resize him. So I can just grab the edge here and hold shift while I do that. It's going to scale him down and just kind of pick a size for your flag. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. And then I would just put him, I would allow a little bit to pop out up top, but I would probably send him to the back as well. Make him go behind that. And there we go. We got the little flag. That looks good. I can just grab him and duplicate him up here. Okay. Just like that, but of course he's a little bit off, so let's go ahead and bring him over till he lines up right in the center. He's not doing it, he's not cooperating, so we're gonna grab this flag post, shift click this guy again, and just align him to the center. And now this flag, you could bump it over 1 if you want, just like that. And then we'll grab him. I'm just gonna Command copy, and that's Command or Control C, and then Command or Control V to paste, just to bring him over here. And we need to line him up again, so we'll have to zoom in, maybe grab both of these here, line them up. Did I forget to send that other one to the back? We'll see. You gotta send this guy maybe to the back, and then I would send this flag to the back as well. Like that, there we go. And is he on top? Nope, that works. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Now we got little flags on top. Okay, what's next? We got windows. Look at these windows. They look a lot like the door, don't they? Let's make more doors that turn into windows. Rectangle tool. Maybe this size. We're just guessing, just like that. I need to pull in the top 2 corners, so A for the direct selection tool. This tutorial is a lot longer than I expected. That's okay. Okay, pull these in here just like that, and then let's make these that darker door frame color, maybe. Oh, that's not the right color. If I can select it. Doesn't seem like I can get it very easily because it's underneath there. So what we're going to do is not have this be 10% opacity. We're just going to select a color here. I don't really want it to be all the way black, so let's maybe do something super dark brown, just like that. Okay, now these windows too big, so let's make it a little bit smaller. Oh, we got the not selecting it correctly. There we go. I have no idea what's going on. Do we have the direct selection tool selected here? Whoa, buddy. So we have actually what's going on here. If you're running into this issue, go up to the transform panel. I believe we have an issue with these not being checked. So we need to scale corners, scale strokes and effects. I would have those checked. Now what can happen? There we go. Okay, so the corners weren't scaling. That's what was happening. So we can put these windows in here. You can choose your size. Looks like I went a little bit bigger than this. Maybe something like that. Hold shift to keep it in proportion. And then I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this out. It doesn't really matter where it lands over here. If I select both, right click and group those together. This is a little group. I'm going to shift click the main wall, and we're gonna align to the main wall just like that. So bump them. Now I know they're exactly in the center of each other. I can go ahead and get rid of that group by ungrouping, and now I can grab these guys and just place them on your towers around here. Make sure they're aligned to the center. You can just place them wherever you want. I'm not sure if that's aligned to the center, so I'm going to grab that and make sure it's centered up. Good. I'm putting one on each of these big towers. I don't know if that's centered, so same thing, just there it wasn't, so just select both and center it up with your alignment panel. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that over here. Not even going to worry about trying to eyeball it. And then it looks like I did 3 on this big one, so let's try doing that. We'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to grab them both, or grab them all. Go, and first I'm going to align to selection to make sure they're exactly sort of 3 in a row, spaced out perfectly. Then I'm going to group them. If I select them all again, I'm going to group them. And we're going to select this back object and center on that. There we go. So we got the windows all centered. We're looking pretty good. Let's add some shadows, and the last thing we'll do is add the little bricks, little texture, and then the grass. So shadows next. We probably could have already done these, but that's okay. We've got these triangles. Okay. What I'm going to do with these triangles? These two are going to be easier. We're going to grab the rectangle tool again, just make sure it's completely black here. Oh no, not like that. I don't want that selected. I need the rectangle tool, and then I need my swatch to be a darker color, please. Okay, and then we're just going to build this out so it's exactly in the center of this triangle. Select the triangle, select the rectangle, shape builder tool, and then just hold Option or Alt to get rid of the outside of that. So now we have this triangle right here, and what we can do is drop that to about 10%. So you got a little bit of a shadow there. That works. All right, same thing on this side. In fact, what we could do is just grab this shadow, duplicate it over, and let it line up with the center of this guy. So we know those two are the same. That'll work out. This one up here we'll do a little bit different. We're going to bring him to the front first. Arrange, bring to front. And then I'm going to use that rectangle tool. And this part will be the same, but I just wanted to bring him to the front, and then we'll push him back. So line him up right there in the center, grab both, and then click. Well, I don't need to click on anything. We just do that, shape builder tool, get rid of the outside. There we go. Go ahead and do my opacity while we're here. 10%. Could do 15 or so if you wanted. I'm going to grab both of these, right click and group it. And I'm going to right click, and actually I'm going to grab the flag and this whole shape here, right click, arrange, send to back. So it goes beneath everything again. So there's the shadows for up there. We'll go ahead and build out a shadow for down here. I believe they're the same. No, they're different. So we're going to build a rectangle that is once again black, and it goes just a little bit up our main wall like that. We're going to bring this door. Is this 2 pieces? This is 1 piece. So we're going to bring the door to the front. Bring to front. We actually don't need to use the shape builder tool here. I can just grab this piece and lock him in like that, and then run that opacity again down there. Can just duplicate this piece over like that. Make sure it intersects, and then we can grab this corner and resize it. I'm going to bring this shadow up a little bit since this guy's taller, and then we can do the same thing on this side over here. Just duplicate him over to this tower, just like that. And then I think I added a little shadow behind here, so we can just grab this piece again. I like just using these rectangles that we already have. What I'm going to do is just kind of place him up here, right click this main building, and we're going to align him to the left. And then let's zoom in a little bit and bring him over to the right side like that. And then what we can do here is select everything except for this tower. So hold shift, shift click, shift click, shift click. That should be this wall. I'm going to bring this wall to the front. Arrange, bring to front. There we go. That just sits that shadow back there. I think I want to drop this down a little bit, maybe something like that. And I think that's a little dark. So let's just make this one 5% back there. I just want the slightest hint of a shadow back there. All right, what does that leave us with? Are we on to the texture, guys? Are we almost there? It's texture time and the little green piece. Let's add in the little green piece here at the bottom. That piece is pretty easy. So rectangle, build him so he just sticks out a little bit on either side. Now we can select that main wall. We'll center it on that. So we center it on this whole thing. And all we really need here is a color. And the other thing I'll do here is click on him. And up here in my transform panel, if I go to more options, I actually have the corners right here that I can select. So I could do like a corner radius of 5 and see what that looks like. Yeah, I could just round these corners a little bit. Maybe I'll do 3, just so it's not as sharp of an angle. And then all I have to do is click on this guy, double click, go into the greens, and kind of select a green that I like. I like something maybe in the middle here, maybe a little darker, like that. That's a little hot. How about something like that right there? That'll be good. There you go, something like that, it's okay. A little aqua, whatever. Kind of like this color better. Well, actually, it's going to change here. I'll show you how to recolor everything here at the end. Okay, guys, last but not least, it's pretty obvious what these are. These are just little rectangles, but what I want to do is start a new layer. And it looks like I have a color overlay layer that I've already screwed up. So what I want to do is just add a new layer here. I think I've put this entire castle on my color overlay layer, so that's okay. This will be, pretend like you just started and you probably only have one layer. And this one layer is going to be the castle layer. And then this layer is going to be the texture layer, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and lock everything else. I cannot move anything anymore. This texture layer is where I'm going to build these little texture blocks. And so once again, these guys are just rectangles, pretty simple. Build out a little block, whatever size you want. Zoom in on them. I think, now I'm going to start with just a gray and see what happens here, like this gray. And I think what I can do, if I'm not sure if there's a blending opacity that I can do. We'll see if it works. I'm going to pull in these corners just a touch, just like that, so they're a little bit softer blocks. I'm going to bring this over here on top of this guy. Now what I did was I made these always be a little bit lighter than the shape that they're on. So I'm going to start with something, a color that's lighter than this wall to begin with. Go back to my properties panel. I'm going to fill it with something like this. And I'm going to go ahead and test this out. We're going to duplicate this guy onto each wall. Just random spots. I'm going to select them all and see what happens when we go to that opacity and we change it to something like a soft light. I think that works out to where even though it's the same white color, the soft light helps change that the brightness of it depending on the darkness of the tower that it's on. So I can drop the opacity as well to maybe like 50% or something. And maybe we'll do like 70% so we can still see it. Like that. So it's all one color, which makes it a lot easier than the first way I did this. And you use the soft light by clicking on opacity, just use the soft light blending mode, and then you can drop the overall opacity a little bit. And now all you're doing is just making this texture, so we can duplicate these pieces out. I may even speed up this section, but I'm just using Alt or Option to sort of duplicate these different pieces and build them on top of each other. I like keeping the same relative spacing and sort of centering them up. So if you ever offset them, remember they offset like this, where you have 2 and then you put 1 in the center and you would do 2 more. So kind of keep that in mind as you're building all these little shapes out. Remember, it's easier to zoom in. It's easier to zoom in on this and grab these blocks than it is to grab them by looking at it like this. And we'll just speed up the rest of this here while I create the rest of these blocks on this layer, and I'll see you on the other end. Okay, so we've placed these blocks around. I stopped short of doing the rooftops because they're a little bit different, but place these blocks on. I think they're a little bit too visible, so I'm going to drop that back to 50. I want them to just be kind of like a little bit there so you get the sense of the texture. Now, the only difference here with the rooftops, the little piers up here, is that these guys should be probably a little bit smaller. So I'm going to duplicate some blocks and just make them a little smaller up here. But nevertheless, we're going to just do the same type of thing up here with these. So we're just going to bring these around like that. Maybe actually I should probably duplicate this one because these should be smaller, right? Maybe like this right here. Doesn't really matter. I was doing the same thing. I'm sitting there talking to myself saying, these should go over here. Maybe just kind of piece it together like that. Maybe we'll put one extra one up here, just like that. And then we can just duplicate these little segments. I was doing a lot of that where I just duplicate segments. I'm going to keep them away from the middle of the shadow. I don't want them to get sort of confused or anything. Just like that right there. Now these actually, I wouldn't mind going ahead and shift selecting them all and dropping those back even more in opacity, maybe to like 35%. So there we go, you guys. We built the castle. Holy macaroni, that took way longer than I expected, but we did it. Last thing, I told you to wait for this. This is how I might recolor something. You notice how this is a little bit different color? Well, guess what? It's not really. There's just a layer on top of it. I'm gonna go up to my layers panel and we're going to unlock the castle layer. So I've got this castle layer and this texture layer. On top of that, we're gonna make a new layer. I'm gonna call this color overlay. Color overlay. And this is just gonna be the last little piece to the puzzle. I'm gonna make a big old rectangle, just like this, over the top of everything. Now, this rectangle, I actually want to select everything underneath it and the rectangle itself. So we got everything selected right there with that big rectangle, the color overlay rectangle. Using that shape builder tool, I'm gonna hold Option and just minus out, subtract everything that's not the castle. Okay, so now we're going to hide the castle layer. So, or not hide it, but we're gonna lock it, lock castle, lock texture. Now we just have this little color overlay, right? And these flags. So I'm gonna make sure we grab them all just like that. Okay, so with this all selected, I wanna change this color. Let's say I want this to be a warmer tone. Let's go down in here into the oranges. We're gonna select an orange, just like that. Now, back to that properties panel, the opacity, we could do something like overlay, or just click through these, soft light even. And soft light actually works pretty well to sort of change all of the tones. Now what we can do with this guy, we filled him with this orange, but if I add a new swatch here, and we make that a global swatch, hit OK, this is actually filled with a global swatch. So when I click on this swatch and open up this panel, now what we can do is just edit the color live. And I actually can, I can't talk. I can actually click the preview button right here. And I can see what happens to my castle live, just like that. And the other thing I can do is hit OK. Well, if this is like too much, I can drop back that opacity a little bit to give it a hint of the color, right? We're at 40%, and I can go back to that little global swatch options, and once again, adjust this with the preview selected to kind of see how it adjusts the tones of my castle. And we ended up very close to what we originally started with. Okay, so that was still a very long tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a kind of it's hands down probably the most complicated flat design tutorial that I've done on this channel. That's why it took so long. It's not, well, I said complicated. It's really not, it's not difficult. It's just a lot of little pieces. But you put them all together, and I'll be honest, when I was making this castle with some inspiration, like I went to Pinterest and did like flat design castles, and I looked through a lot of stuff, and I started pulling different pieces from that and put it into this, and I was building out this castle. And as I built it, I kept feeling like it wasn't looking good. Okay, I honestly was like unsure of myself that I could even make a little castle look good. But as I added more and more elements, all the little fine details that we added, it's still a pretty simple shape. It's a flat design. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not like high level detail, but we did add some details. And when we did that, when you kind of step back and look at the whole thing, it looks like a castle, and it looks all right, you know? So that's kind of the process. What I'm trying to say is there's a process here. As you're building things out, you're not probably going to feel good about it, but just keep going, keep adding little things, keep getting inspired by stuff, and keep trying. And eventually it turns into something that, well, you're at least okay with, right? All right, guys, thanks for watching this tutorial. If you watched the whole thing, comment down below if you watched the whole thing. Really, really appreciate that. Subscribe for more tips and tutorials. I'll see you guys in the next one.